Hey, I wanted to share a story here. You know what, I don't even know the name of this trail. It was so random how I got here. I am writing a book right now called God Whispers, and it's all about inspirations you get from God or source, what do you want to call it, that lead you toward your next step in life, or toward something magical, or toward connection with family, friends, strangers, or toward your dreams, or toward somebody else's dream. So I was supposed to go to the botanical gardens, and I looked on my map and I'm like, oh, okay, this is where I'm supposed to go. And I started driving. Well, then I finally go, man, I'm too far, something's wrong. And I look at my map and I realize I'm going the completely wrong direction. So I turned around and I was like, dude, I'm hungry. So I stop in this one plaza. I go to 3 different little restaurant spots, and I'm like, no, this doesn't feel right, this doesn't feel right, this doesn't feel right. Finally, I stop at this one restaurant, and I'm like, yeah, and I see this veggie wrap, and I'm like, oh, that's perfect. And I sit, the host, he, who I didn't know at the time was the owner, and he ends up saying, oh, it'll be a little bit of time, and there's a seat right in the bar area, and I don't drink, but I'm like, hey, I'll take that spot. And so he's like, okay. So he cleans it off, and I sit there, and he brings my wrap, and at first I'm like, oh, can I have a gluten-free veggie wrap? I didn't want any gluten in the tortilla. And he said, well, we don't do that, but I'll give you a no wrap veggie wrap. So I'm like, cool. So I said, oh, add sprouts and avocado if you could. And he's like, oh yeah, no problem. So I get the wrap, the non-wrap, and it's beautiful. The presentation was amazing. It tasted great. And then I'm next to the door. So this guy walks in and he starts talking to the owner, and I don't really hear what's going on, but I can hear that there's some type of synchronicity that's happening, because the owner's like, oh, oh my gosh, yeah, this and that, and oh yes, and I do that too, and there was definitely some synchronicity happening. And so when the guy leaves, I go to the owner, he comes back to check on me, and I said, I noticed, I said, you had some synchronicity going on with that man. I said, isn't that fun? That's always so amazing to have synchronicity happening like that. And he's like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for mentioning that. Yeah, this was happening, and we start talking, and the resonation was so amazing. And he asked me if I had read the Artist Way and some other books about synchronicity, and so I finished my meal, and I said thank you so much, and I said, I'm looking for the botanical gardens. I said, it's up that way, right? And he says no. He says, there's one that's the other way. And he says, and there's this trail that you can go on. This is my point, everybody. There's this trail you can go on that's really amazing. This is the trail he was talking about. So it's taken me a while to get here, but there's this beautiful Buddha who's like, oh my gosh, the energy here is amazing, and this waterfall, and he just said it was incredible. And wow, this place is amazing. So I just wanted to let you know that synchronicity happens when your heart is open, when you are not really worried about things or stressed about things, and you're just breathing, you're just going on, and you're feeling appreciation and joy, and you're just following your heart. So follow your heart today, and you're going to end up at a beautiful place, connecting with strangers and having a great time. And now it's totally starting to rain really hard, so I'm going to head home.